Okay, welcome everybody to the 2:30 presentation at the Chaos booth. First of all, we're from Mackevision, and we're going to go over some of the production pipelines that we use within the company. One of the key pieces of software that we use throughout all of our process is the Chaos V-Ray software, rendering as part of our rendering production pipeline, and we want to thank them for inviting us to present during the show. So to start out here, let's see here. Let me go to my presentation. There we go. Back to the top. So anyway, to give you a little introduction to myself, I am the picture shooter team lead at Mackevision. I have about 15 people that I'm currently working with in North America. Our company, Mackevision, is 200 employees globally with 6 different offices around the world. We specialize in 3D visualization, animation, and we're doing visual effects for production companies and for industrial clients. Basically, some of our bigger clients are Ford and Chrysler, Mercedes, and BMW. We specifically focus on the product industries, and we have a specialized pipeline that specifically deals with the massive amount of assets which are necessary for the majority of marketing needs for corporations today. So it's really not doesn't work anymore. It's very difficult to stay competitive today if you're just doing 3 to 5 renderings for a catalog. You're going through the entire process of setting up the vehicle, making it look great. Now with larger clients, what we're finding is that there's a greater and greater need for producing large quantities of images for global marketing needs. And many times what you see is that larger clients have many localized marketing needs, and so you simply can't produce an image for a single market. Today, to be competitive, you need to be able to produce assets for all of those markets. So our company is focused on building pipelines to deliver that high quality images in a high quantity. Basically, our pipeline starts like this. We are working, we receive the data, and we do that in several different ways, whatever way the client is interested in. And once they provide us the data, the next phase of our research is really product information. Most of the assets that we produce are configurable products, which means that they have multiple configurations for each of the products. So one of the things our team does is specializing in understanding all of the different needs and all the different configurations for those products. Once we have that and understand that, then we work to set up our master scenes, which have all the configurations within the scene. After we've set that up and added our lighting rigs, materials, etc., then the assets are ready to move into either A, the movie division, or B, to the web division, or C, and another creative usage within our company. So we're able to take those same assets that we derive from our initial visualization pipeline and to put that into many areas that are needed for advertising and marketing. One of the things that we run into on a daily basis as we go out to talk to our clients is there's still incredible pressure to deliver the high quality in very little time. We also have, after the economic situation, we have more and more of our clients, that are reducing their budgets, making their budgets tighter, and they're really looking at getting more out of the amount that they're going to pay. But at the same time, they're still demanding the same level of quality as they did if you were just going to do the job that had, 3 to 5 images. One of the key elements that we use in our pipeline is V-Ray for multiple, not only for delivery, but for internal visualization. So as we're going through and materializing the product, adding lights, adding materials, tools like V-Ray RT enhance our pipeline and accelerate the process. One of the projects that we just finished recently was all the vehicle line or the full fleet for North America for VW. And we'll just pop this up on the web here so that we can take a look at that. So basically VW came to us early this year and they said we would like to produce all of the assets for North America within your pipeline. That included the picture shooter and also our Hugo processing tools. So just to give you an example of what we're doing on a regular basis, you can go through, select the vehicle, each of the vehicle that you build. Let's see. Each of the vehicle you build has its own assets, meaning its own color, its own, its own wheels, its own interior, everything. And so when VW asks us to do that, it's not just producing one car, it's producing every car in the line with every trim level and every material and every option. So it's a massive project, and majority of pipelines that are out there for companies can't support the ability to produce that many assets, and our pipeline does, and we're going to go over a little bit of how that works. So one of the things that is the foundation of our process is our dynamically scalable production pipeline. And that really has several components of it that are key here on this chart. The first thing that we do when we take on a client like VW is we put them through a process blueprint. Like, we look at the entire scope of what they want to deliver and we define a very specific process in which to deliver it. Then the next stage that we're very good at in our company is basically scaling our ability to make sure that the products are product correct. So we have multiple deliveries, a very complex schedule, but within that we allow for multiple revisions from our clients so that we can create products that are accurate when they're delivered to the local market. Once we have gone through that process, then we begin to move into some of our other tools like our Hugo and picture shooter and other tools we have internally that allow us to make a massive amount of information from the assets that we have as far as images, and also a global content distribution system which allows us to deliver the assets to the end user. So just to give you an idea of some of the process that we currently have, when we originally get the files or we get the data, we begin to isolate it and break it down and tag all of the assets within the vehicle. We have a very process-oriented workflow where, the leathers, the seats, the dash, the glass, each of those is material ID'd and each of those assets is tagged. That means that when we have multiple vehicles that we're putting into production, we can share the radio or the shifter or any option that's available across all the car lines into the single rendering. So our first step is to go in and set it up. The next thing that we do once we have this done is then we send that information to the client. They review the geometry from all the trim levels, from all the vehicles, to ensure that there's product accuracy. The next thing that we do is we start to use V-Ray RT in our pipeline at this point when we begin to add our materials to our vehicles. Now, in the VW project, there were over 300 different materials that we had assets, leathers, metals, paints, plastics, everything that you can, and plus all the interior lighting setup that are actually glows from the dials, and so that we could switch from nighttime to daytime scenes. So we're using V-Ray RT in this area so that we can quickly materialize the vehicle. So we have a massive material library for each of our clients, and then those assets are shared across all of the artists so that we have a consistent look as we move through a product phase, approval phase. So the next phase that we have is our lighting phase, and again we're using V-Ray RT in this phase so that we can quickly set up lights in the interior and we can get a accurate description of how the final product will look in a very quick time. So here our artists are setting up multiple lights in this particular scene, and each light has its own ID, and when we render the assets we can separate the lights for compositing, which is a new feature for V-Ray that we really like, and so we can actually relight the cars in post with our light setup. So we make a massive light rig for the interior and the exterior, and all of the lights that we have are tagged and assets, and then once they're in our system, we can actually change the lighting automatically as we process it through our tools. So you can see here it goes through several stages as we add the lights, and again each one of those is tagged as we move along. So once we move out of that phase, then we really move into the phase where we begin to add speed and quality to delivering multiple assets. And you can see right here is one of our tools. This is Hugo, and every single configuration of every single vehicle within the VW fleet is here. So if we want to produce every color at the press of a button of all the vehicles in an animation, Hugo allows us to do that easily. So now we can basically make a single animation that can change materials at any time because we've rendered out all of those assets using Hugo. Another nice thing about the process with using V-Ray is that once we tag those ideas, once we add those IDs to the multiple channels, V-Ray will render the pass, and then it will break it up into the key elements that we know that our customers need to basically composite the final image together for delivery. So in a single pass, instead of multiple channels, V-Ray allows us to do all of our rendering passes in a single pass. So this is a very important to us when we're producing thousands of assets. We couldn't keep track of producing all of the channels as well. So that integrated feature that they have makes our pipeline work much better. So here are some of the passes that we use on a regular basis to improve and push the quality of our images. We have a standard ZDEP path, then we do a draft rendering with an overlay, then we basically do a material layer on top of that, and then this is what the images would look like as we were putting the final materials together and gathering them together for the final image. So it's a very orderly process that we march through in order to achieve the results, and then that can be duplicated across many artists working in tandem or in parallel. And again, in the end, this is the kind of image that we're able to deliver. And many times, once we set up the basic rig, then we can hand that off to, for example, our creative department that then can tweak it in, you know, adjust the lights and make it, you know, specific for that particular shot for that client. But the idea is that our primary production pipeline delivers it up to the point where a creative can pick it up and start to work. Another thing that we have as part of our tools is the ability for the artist to actually configure the vehicle. So each of our artists is essentially a product specialist, which means they understand that vehicle and the lineup of that vehicle in depth. Tools like Koba integrate into Max and Maya, and once we begin to break the vehicle up into all of its layers or its components, these types of tools that we have scripted at Mackevision integrate into off-the-shelf software, so that then our artists can go in and set up the configuration for the vehicles so that it will work in Hugo and it will work in Picture Shooter. So we have a very organized process, and the great thing about it is the artists have the control of setting up the vehicles, and then once that goes through product review, if there's issues with it, it comes back, the artist can correct it. So it's just one of these tools that allow us to really speed things up once it's set up. Again, this is another, Hugo is basically our database-driven configurable rendering tool. And so once we have configured it with Koba, once we've put all the IDs and asset tagged all of the objects and the geometry components and the lights, then we use Hugo to basically automate the process of delivering all of the images. So at a click of a button, again, Hugo can produce every color, every trim on every option once the vehicle is configured. So if VW comes to us and say, okay, we want all of the SE turbo interior with all the fabrics, we can easily set it up and push a button and they'll all render. So we'll have 300 images when we're done. Each one then can be layered over each other for web and print. So we also do in-place live action, and we're going to show a little overview of how we did a car replacement on an existing piece of footage. Hold on here a sec. Okay, so that gives you a little bit of just a short overview of how we're dealing with okay, so let's go to our next slide. So just to give you an overview of how we are dealing with our running footage assets, this gives you an example. We go out to the scene. We will shoot HDRIs on set. We'll use a camera matching rig like this in place. Here we flew out to set this up to give you an idea here quickly of how we went through to set up all of the tracking points. Then we went through, tracked the entire scene, all the data points within the scene. We went in and we basically did our reflection environment, and then we did the animation in the scene and replaced the other vehicle with backplates. And I think we have just a quick example here of just some of the way that we were able to, you know, take the existing car that was in the scene, remove it, and put a new vehicle in its place. This is a pretty standard process that we apply across all the vehicle lines. So we have a pretty standardized process and rigs and analysis tools that we can quickly come up with the camera matching. Alright, so just to give you an example of some of the lighting and how we do rendering with layers on our images. So you can see here, basically we start out with the vehicle in place, and then with Hugo system and our matching and our IDs, we are able to basically take that information and pump it into Nuke. And then once the vehicle is in the scene and it's composited, again, if the client comes back and they want any changes, they want the red car, they want the different wheels, they want whatever, then all of that information from Hugo is automatically scripted and connected into Nuke, which immediately will produce a different result on the fly. So again, when this animation plays, you could change the vehicle material as you go. Obviously then we have a full compositing suite, which we can then do offline with as well. Here's an example of the final journey shot, I think. So the next thing I want to show you is our motion configurator. This is a new technology that we're currently working on. You can see here that on the Mercedes site, now we are interactively moving the vehicle. Obviously we can change the color of the vehicle on the fly, similar to you could do in VW. But here is where the production pipeline comes together and is able to deliver all the assets for the vehicle. Let me go ahead and just start this. Is this the... So the motion configurator is designed to, as the car is moving through the scene, you can go in and configure the color of the vehicle as it's driving. You can change the wheels, see the wheels up close, change the paint colors. So what's happening in a lot of these cases is that we're with our advanced mold system, we're able to quickly deliver all of the renderings onto the CG car as it moves. So we have multiple renderings of each of the car passes that then change on the fly. Overview of similar to the one that you saw before, that gives you kind of an overview of how we were able to produce a project of this nature. So we were on site shooting for multiple days. We don't have any rendering errors. The last product that we have, and this is the key product that I'm working on, and if you'd like to come back, I believe, at 4:30. We're going to be doing an overview of this piece of technology, which is our virtual photography tool, which is called Picture Shooter. And what Picture Shooter does is it's a web-based interface that what happens is the OEM comes to us, the manufacturer comes to us, we produce all the vehicles in the lineup for the manufacturer, and then the manufacturer can log in on the web and essentially get real-time feedback, position the car how they want to. It uses V-Ray RT in the window, and it's actually processing on our server farm in Detroit and in Germany. And this allows the creatives to be able to have an interface where they can quickly have product-accurate images from whatever local area that they're in. And so we can set up within the system, as say, for example, you're logging in from Nicaragua. We're going to use a VW in Nicaragua has a very specific criteria for the images that they're going to use for the products that they have in that market. So we can customize that so that when they would come on to begin to produce images for their local-based marketing material, that they have the car that's available to them only, and then what they'll do, they'll position the vehicle where they want. They can upload whatever background they want. They can you can upload an HDRI into the background if they have something local and custom that they want to use, and then from that, then they can essentially render an image, and that rendering process will then deliver a image onto the FTP, which then they can download and immediately integrate into their marketing solution at the local level. But we're going to have that demonstration for Picture Shooter a little bit later this afternoon. It's a really great presentation, so if you get time, come back and see how we're able to virtualize these products with the Picture Shooter tool. I believe that's all of my presentation. One last thing I did want to note is we are doubling in size in Detroit area, and if you're interested in working in the automotive field, whether you're a compositor or whether you're a modeler or whether you're a material and lighter, we'd love to have you drop by and let us know so you can see if you'd be interested in working on our team. That's all I have. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. Come by the booth, and I'll show you some of the great images that we are producing for print and some of the images that we are producing for web. Thank you so much, and thank you to the Chaos Group for letting us present today. Thank you.